Good morning. Today I couldn't pick up a job. Actually, the job I had thought I was scheduled for, I was not for today. And then that was picked up by somebody else before I had a chance to pick it up. And then there was another similar job. So the good thing about that is I get to run in the daylight. Well, as much as it's daylight today, it's still much nicer than running in the dark. So I came out to Pittsburgh Military Museum. I'm going to do a little bit of light speed work today, I think. We got this nice flat half-mile loop. It's perfect for it. Okay, so the plan today is to do one of those Hal Higdon style tempo runs. So right now I'm doing about, well, 2 laps, so about 1 mile. Warm up, not looking at the pace. And then I'm gonna do 1 lap each of something in the 14s, maybe the mid 14s, mid 13s, mid 12s. So yeah, the 12s is where my 12:12 is where my goal half marathon pace is, and then depending on how I feel, I might push it up to the 11s and then come back down or start going back down there to 13, 14, and then back to a slow lap for the end. Yeah, starting in the 1960s with runners like Ken Cooper, you know, still alive and strong, philosopher and Dr. George Sheehan, of course Hal Higdon, Jeff Galloway, distance running, and in particular starting with the marathon, were really promoted as a way for middle-aged people to stay in good health. These 14s are feeling easy, but I know I'm pushing a little bit. Anyway, back to it. It's this be like a steady state, right? Maybe marathon pace or a little bit below, and I'll get into marathon pace in the next round. So yeah, the marathon was really promoted as like fitness for folk who didn't want to sit in front of the TV with Bonnie Pruden or Jack LaLanne doing scissor kicks to keep themselves in shape, you know, or didn't have access to a lap pool, or maybe even didn't have a bicycle or feel safe on the roads where they lived. Jogging was promoted, right? Bill Bowerman's books on jogging in the 60s were very influential. You know, but it also eventually got hooked up with the marathon, and nobody knew then, but we definitely know now, that one thing joggers love to do, and by joggers I mean anybody in their 40s who has no chance of getting a salary out of running. Somebody's still doing it for health, so 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90-year-olds, 100-year-olds out there running, you know. Jogging is always connected to health, but then I got hooked up with marathons in the 1960s too. So it made me think, well, what is the best distance for the hobby jogger, the amateur? Amateur, that's a word going back to the Greek meaning lover of. The amateur runner, someone who loves running and doesn't just do it for a paycheck. You know, folk like me, it doesn't matter how fast you are. Is it the marathon with all of its history, right? Boy, that's inspired so many people get in shape, right? So many middle-aged people to take care of fitness, whether they have to sit on a desk all day for their work or not. You know, or is it another distance, a half marathon with its unfortunate name, implying it's half as good. Okay, here we are on the other side. I gotta pull up to about 13-minute pace. Here, let me look. Just a little bit quicker, you know? Or is it the 5K, which is, there's a plethora of them locally, wherever you live, and even if you live in England, they have something called park runs, where you can run a 5K every Saturday if you want. I don't know who would want to do it every Saturday, an event, but you know, lots of people do. Or is it the 10K? A little bit more challenging than that first event, but just a little bit harder to learn to sustain your aerobic system for a little bit longer. Or maybe it's the ultras, where people go out, some of these 200 milers, and hike for 100 miles around Lake Tahoe, right? Or there's one out, oh look, another hawk visiting me. I don't know if you can see it, right there. You know, and hundreds and 50 milers and 50Ks also. Yeah. So what is it? That's the question of the day, I guess, because I don't have an answer. What is the ideal event if you were Surgeon General, right? Is that who would do that? I think Surgeon General, and your job was to promote one running event around America, around the US, or if you were, is there a UN version of that, of Surgeon General, where you're promoting it through the whole world? What would it be? Would you promote through the power of your office 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons, marathons, or ultras? Or would it be another thing? Would it be triathlons with their varied, they're a little expensive for most people, you know, getting a triathlon bike. I don't think most working people can afford that, but maybe it is, right? Maybe it's a sprint triathlons. I don't know. What would you promote? That's the question of the day. Well, this is a 12-minute lap. I think it's probably on 12:30. So my half marathon pace, which I'm hoping to get down to 12:12 to get into a PR. Doesn't feel too bad. Not bad at all. Well, there was a loud concussive sound over there by that gas station. Now there's a truck that's pulled into there in a weird, so not pulled straight in, kind of like curved in. So I don't know what happened, but right now I could smell some weird smelling smoke. I don't imagine that's good to breathe in deeply, So I got a 14-minute half mile, a 13-minute half mile, 12-minute, 11 something, back to the 12-minute. And I'm just gonna stay on this side, this half of the half mile, which I imagine would be a quarter mile, and loop around a couple times at a resting pace to bring my heart rate back down gently. Such a beautiful foggy day. A little bit of rain, but not too much.